All right, well, welcome to the next episode of Discipline, Desire, and Dedication. My name is Dakota Lang. This is Garrett Cotton alongside of me. We have a special guest today, a guy that, has been invested into himself for a while and just started at the bottom and just keeps grinding to make his way to the league. So let's welcome Hunter James.
What's up, guys?
What's up, man? Glad to have you.
Dude, I'm excited.
Absolutely, man. Super pumped to have you on the pod. Kind of just, I know a couple people already know a little bit about you just from, us sponsoring you and stuff like that. But just kind of go back to your backstory, about where you're from, maybe your family and your childhood life and stuff like that.
Yeah, man. So I'm a Louisiana boy, just like you guys.
Yep.
I was born and raised in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. But, I was a baseball player my whole life, bro. So my backstory, like, people expect me to, like, be wrestling or seeing where I'm at now. Like, where'd you start? I was a pretty boy baseball player.
Yeah.
And I think that's what kind of makes my story so special or funny, right? So, I played baseball my whole life, all through high school. That was my life, baseball year-round.
Yeah.
I ended up getting a little scholarship to go play baseball at Louisiana College. I got there and I lasted a semester. Yeah, dude. I found out real quick that I was getting kind of burnt out and I was wanting something. I didn't know what it was at the time, but I knew baseball wasn't it anymore. So from there, I moved back home. I started going to Southeastern, Hammond, Louisiana. And about all this time, now that baseball was absent in my life, I still had that competitiveness in me, and I still wanted to be an athlete. So I was like, man, what's next? What's next? And my whole life, I remember as a kid growing up, I was watching UFC fight nights with my dad. Like, we would go to his friend Mr. Brock's house. I remember till this day.
Yeah. Okay.
Would go watch fights at Brock's house. Chuck Liddell, George St. Pierre, and all that. And at the time, I didn't know I was so interested in it, but looking back, I was like, I see the correlation.
Yep.
But yeah, so when I stopped playing baseball, I needed that void to be filled, that competitive void. So I started going over to the UFC gym in Baton Rouge. I think it's Core UFC gym now.
Yep.
And I started, pretty baseball player me, walked up to now my good friend, coach, I even consider him like family, Thomas Webb, old T Webb. I was like, hey, coach, I want to fight. And he was like, kind of looked me up and down. He's like, all right, go do these little beginner classes. So that's where it started, man. I started jumping into the beginner jiu-jitsu classes, the beginner kickboxing classes.
So let's go back. So you went to Southeastern, correct? So you
Yeah.
went to Louisiana College for about a semester.
Yep.
And then you went directly to Southeastern, not playing baseball, correct?
Not playing baseball.
Okay. What were you going to school for?
Dude, so I think right when I got there, I was under a nursing major. Found out real quick that wasn't for me. Dude, so I think I was just trying to follow the crowd. Everybody's doing medicine, everybody's doing nursing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I switched that to criminal justice at the time. My sister is involved in law enforcement. She was a cop. My dad's on his way out of retirement with law enforcement. So I've just been surrounded by law enforcement my whole life. I kind of felt like I had that protector role in me too.
Yeah.
This is about the time I started to realize I wanted more out of my life. That kind of passive person I was in high school, that pretty boy baseball player I like to say. I was tired of that person, and I wanted something new, and I wanted something more.
Would you say that whenever you kind of going through this journey, were you more of like following the footsteps of family members in a sense, or was like that kind of like the path that was paved for you, and then that's just kind of like where you ended up was like criminal justice, and then one day you just decided to make your own decisions?
Yeah, I think I tried to go against the beaten path, right, doing the nursing stuff, but I think I just fell right into, just growing up seeing how my dad was.
Yep.
He was my superhero, right? He's a tough, strong dude, law enforcement, always told me the cool stories, and I was like, all right, that's where I want to go. I want to start doing something in that direction.
Yeah.
So whenever you were going through college, when was the moment that when you made that commitment going, okay, I'm going to the UFC gym. I'm going to go figure out what is going on over here. What was that moment for you?
Yeah, man. So obviously, like I was talking about earlier, I kind of had that interest in the sport. But I had a few situations where I'm not going to get into them too deep, but I had a few situations where dealing with loved ones where I was like, I should probably learn how to fight. Because I felt internally like I felt like that protector kind of attitude, felt like I wanted to be a protector, but then reality sets in, right? And like no matter how bad I want to be a protector, like you can't just turn it on like that.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's a misconception with fighting, right? Just kind of correlating fighting into it. People think they can just turn it on and do what they saw on TV, and that's not nowhere near.
It's
the
a
truth.
sport. Yeah,
It is,
you know,
man.
you relate it to any other sport. Like the people who are the best, they invest the most time into it. They know
Yep.
what they're doing. They know every next move. So
Yeah.
that's what you had to do.
Yeah, so I think that's what really got me started. Was just wanting to learn how to fight, wanting to learn how to defend myself and the people that I love. That's really what it boils down to. But then as I started getting into this, I really started seeing the sport and competitive side to it, and I started falling.
So
in love with
when
it.
was the when was your first day as far as like going into the UFC when you just started it? I guess was it 2022, 2020? What was it?
I want to say it was 2020. I want to say so. Yeah, so I started going in 2020, and then I remember COVID happening.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to say I was training for like 3 or 4 months, like really getting the bug, loving it, and then COVID happened. And then from there, obviously that got put on pause for what was it, like 6 months?
Yeah.
I was still going to college online, and then I remember being at home, going to college online, and then that's when my mind really started rolling. Like, man, I'm not liking college. So then I started researching military stuff. So yes, definitely started in 2020. COVID happened, and then I remember as soon as the restrictions got lifted, I was there the next day in the gym.
Really?
Right
Right.
back. Yeah, right. So I want
Did
to say,
you keep up with any type of training like during COVID?
Yeah. So actually, my coach, he was the only one allowed in the gym, and then he was doing like live stream workouts.
Interesting.
Yeah, so he would go on Facebook Live, do his like boxing combo workouts, obviously all body weight stuff. And yeah, so I think my dad ordered me a boxing bag to hit on and to just kind of stay in shape. Just a lot of shadow boxing and stuff like that. But I really think that's where I started clicking to striking the most. It's because I had so much downtime to really dissect it. I didn't have anyone to grapple with.
Yeah.
So I spent a lot of time working on my striking.
Maybe it's for a reason, you know?
Yeah, it happened for a reason.
And whenever you started going through that, how old are you now?
I'm 23.
23. So you pretty much started when you were 20 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. Damn. So 3 years. That's just the
that's
beginning.
That's a lot of people don't know, man. Is like, we'll get into it later too, but like I've only been doing this for 3 years, and I've just became.
So you went
obsessed with
through.
it.
So you went through, and you started researching the military and stuff like that. What was the moment that Thank you for your service as well.
Oh, no, thank you, man.
What was the moment that you said, okay, the military is where I need to be?
I don't know. I can't remember the exact moment. I just remember there was I was going back and forth, right? I want to do military. I was reaching out to military guys, trying to ask them questions about the military. Like I was really, really invested into it, but I was also getting really, really invested into mixed martial arts. And my buddy, so me and my buddy Cade Ross joined at the same time. So it just boiled down to like, you have to make a decision of who you want to be. I remember thinking to myself, all right, if I don't at least try the military, I'm going to regret it. And that was my biggest thing. Like I told a lot of people, I'm going to probably do 3 years and get out. I just want to experience the military.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't remember an exact moment. I just knew I was fed up with college, wasn't enjoying it. I was didn't know who I was. So I just had to try to find who I was going to be. And it was just time to like stop talking about it and start doing it.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it boiled down to. It's just pulling the trigger, like, all right, I'm joining.
That's good that you had like different options and stuff. I really relate to your story because I pretty much did the exact same thing.
Yeah.
I like started into college, and then for me, I went and just had too much fun in that first semester. I being 18 years old and learning all the fun stuff in
Oh,
college.
yeah.
So, one semester of school ended up withdrawing. I didn't drop out.
Mhm.
I didn't flunk out.
Flunk out, yeah.
But I withdrew. So I withdrew in time. Ended up going to a basic training in Fort Benning as well.
Yep.
And then came back and I had tuition exemption because I did the National Guard route. But
Yeah.
for me, I didn't really.
Smart way.
Yeah, I didn't have like a. Well, I always say it's the opposite. I say I wish I would have gone and just done like a 2 or 3 year contract, just
Yeah.
got my experience, and then been done with it. But National Guard's like 6 years of like 1 week in a month.
Yeah.
You know, imagine if you just practiced one week in a month.
Yeah. That's
you know,
the joke we make with them too.
Yeah, it's just it doesn't work, you know. So it's just hard to stay in a mindset because when you're there every day, you don't mind being in the military.
No,
you know,
no.
it's not a problem at all.
Yeah,
But then National Guard, you go to the units and it's like, I got drill this weekend. Like,
Yeah.
F this. Yeah.
What's going on?
Yes, but
Yeah,
I followed the same thing of like I came home and my mom, she was in the healthcare field, so I figured I was like, well, I'll go under her wing and kind of learn the ropes.
Yeah.
But then I went all the way to my senior year of college, and then I got a job in healthcare and realized that this is a big mistake. So I didn't even graduate because I had gotten to that last semester and I was like, I don't want to get a degree in healthcare. Like I just went through all this school. That's the last thing that I want to do. So then I started serving tables again, and then for me, I ended up getting the opportunity to come to Utah and start selling. So it's a very similar story of like,
no, 100%.
you know, just didn't really have an option, and then the option just fell in our lap. But we took advantage of the opportunity, right?
100%. You have to.
As soon as you got into UFC, you didn't half-ass it. You went out there with like, I'm going to do something with
Purpose.
this.
Purpose.
I don't want to lose if I get in a fight.
No,
you
yeah,
know?
100%.
For me, I want to be number one. Like I want to be the person that they remember. So
Yeah.
that's how you leave a legacy.
No, yeah,
You know.
100%.
Let's as far when was your last fight? It was what, a month ago?
March,
2 months ago?
January,
March 30th?
March 30th.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, March 30th.
So what's that? Oh,
Month and a- 2.5
ago. Yeah,
Yeah,
about a month and a half ago.
ago.
So you had the fight with the first round TKO.
Yep.
And then you got a fight coming up. What?
June 29th.
June
I
29th.
want to
Yeah.
say it's like 6.5 weeks.
6.5 weeks. Yeah. So kind of. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, I was gonna just say, kind of tell us about that fight of what you're expecting coming into it, and you know who you're going against, and kind of a little background on him too as well.
Yeah, so I'm fighting a guy named Benton Mitchell.
Mm-hmm.
He's 1-1. I'm 1-1 as a pro. Funny enough, the dude I just beat, it's one of his teammates.
Really?
So I don't know if they're trying to get a little revenge.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's not going to happen.
Yeah.
But kind of makes the story a little better.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, they actually wanted me to fight the dude I just fought again because apparently there was a little controversy with the stoppage.
Mm-hmm.
But what you can't see in the video is the ref asking him, hey, defend yourself, hey, defend yourself. And then I have his far arm trapped, and it's just elbowing his temple.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the ref did a good job stopping it because that guy could have got really hurt. So, they tried to offer him. I said no. And then they offered his teammate. So I'm like, all right, they're trying to set something up.
Yeah.
But, I think he's going to be strong. I think he's going to be tough, gritty. Well, that's all the things I am too. But when it comes to striking and grappling, I'm levels ahead, I think so.
Yeah. And
So-
how old is he? Do you know?
I want to say he's close to 30.
Closer to 30.
But, yeah, he's just another name in front of me.
That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Reps. It's all about reps.
Yep, yep.
Each fight's a new one. So.
Oh, yeah. But, yeah, I'm excited.
Talk about cause I was pretty intrigued about what you're doing in the military currently, and personally I think it's an advantage for you. You know what I mean?
Dude.
To stay in constantly, day in and day out. You're constantly training. Kind of just talk a little bit about that and maybe some of the advantages that you have because of the military.
Yeah, so I like to think I have the best job in the Army.
Yeah.
I'm currently a combative instructor at USACS, the United States Army Combative School. So what I do is I teach master combatives to soldiers coming through. What we like to call it is a teaching the trainer or training the trainer, right? So they've already accomplished going through level 1 and level 2, which is BCC and TCC, basic combatives, and then tactical combatives. All right. So they've already learned what they're going to learn as far as the Army combatives, but what we're doing is teaching them how to teach combatives and how to be an instructor. So yeah, like you were saying, it's kind of a little an advantage because my day job is fighting. So I
every
gotta.
day. and it's teaching people to
Teaching
teach
people.
fighting. You know,
Yes.
so it's like,
And
Yeah.
you'll be surprised, and I'm sure you guys can relate to it when you're teaching your guys in here.
it's exactly
The
the
more
same.
you teach, the more you learn yourself.
Yeah.
That's
too.
right.
Little things you can do better.
The best part about that is that you start seeing it from totally different perspectives.
Exactly.
Right? You get to see it from 10 different views because 10 different people are going to look at a situation differently, right?
Yeah.
So if you can break down that, for each individual person and make them comprehend it, it just gives you a second level advantage, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, and like you said, like some of the advantages is there's some freak athletes in the military that you just don't hear about because they're busy serving their country.
Yep.
They're guys that could easily be doing what I'm doing, but they're putting more emphasis on their Army career. And I'm just trying to have a balance, right? I want to have a good Army career, but my main mission, right, is getting to the UFC while serving in the Army.
Yeah, and that's amazing, dude.
Yeah.
How long, based on the journey you're at, how many amateur fights did you have?
7 amateur fights. I was 6-1.
7 amateur fights, 6-1. So, going through that, and then you've been pro how long?
Not even a year. I would say 6 months.
6 months,
Yeah.
yeah. So, kind of talk about like your timeline as far as like when's your goal to be into the UFC, as far as like what you have to accomplish to get there, and when's that going to happen by?
Yeah. So obviously getting to the UFC is difficult, right? But I just try to look back at what I've done in 3 years of martial arts. I'm like, guys will train 10, 11 years before they turn professional. I've trained 3. And it's just learning on the job, all right, just taking it seriously. And if I just stay on the path and doing what I'm doing right now, I think at the next 2, 3, 4 years max that I'll be at the UFC or close.
Yeah.
And right now I'm competing on what we call like the regional scene or the local regional scene,
Yeah.
which is smaller promotions. They have them in every state essentially. And as long as I keep winning and putting on good performances, I can start fighting for these bigger promotions or these regional promotions, such as Fury, like CFFC, where they're being broadcasted by UFC Fight Pass. And what that means is whenever I fight, they're videoing my fight, that fight's going to be uploaded to UFC Fight Pass, and all the UFC
Fans and stuff.
fans,
Yeah.
recruiters, like all their, like my fight will be there for them to see.
Yeah, I really want to talk to you about that. So, about growing your fan base, right?
Yeah.
So you fought in Louisiana. This is going to be your second time. So hometown.
Oh yeah.
That's an experience. I wish we could have made the last one.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Dude, it was awesome.
I could only imagine, right? You packed the house. That's why
Oh,
they
yeah.
wanted you to come back again.
Yeah.
But kind of just talk about, we always crack the joke is, people used to call me the window man whenever I was leaving, right? So whenever I left real estate, I was known as, the window guy. Dakota's the new window guy, right? And people don't take you as seriously because they don't see the vision that you see.
Yeah.
So talk about whenever you made the commitment into UFC and said, okay, I want, not in the UFC, to mixed martial arts,
Yeah.
and about, my goal is to be in the UFC. You saw the vision of what you had to do, but other people, they don't see the same vision as you. So
No.
they don't understand what steps you have to take to be there, as well as like, your mental grind that you go through.
Yeah.
Kind of just talk about like your support system when you went in and how it is completely flipped. I would say, especially in the past 6 months, in my opinion.
No, yeah, 100%. Yeah, it's funny, man. When I started, being public about I'm going to start fighting, I got a lot of laughs and like a
Yeah.
lot of unsure.
Yeah.
Because, and I don't blame them, right? I like to say I was that pretty boy baseball player. I've gotten on like maybe 2 fights until this point, right? And I wouldn't even call them fights. It was like 1 or 2 punches and it was broken up.
Right.
And now I'm going
Street fight.
Yeah, street fighting.
Yeah.
And now I'm saying here I am
Yeah.
going to go do like what I think is some of the most purest forms of competition that you can do, right? It's man versus man.
That's it.
Skilled fighter versus skilled fighter. There's no excuses if you lose.
Yeah, locked in a cage.
Locked in a cage, nowhere to run. Nowhere to run, right?
Yeah,
Like,
nowhere to run. You were locked in a cage.
literally best man win.
Yeah.
That's it.
Right? So yeah, I don't think a lot of people saw the vision at first. A lot of people doubted me Even after my first few wins, it's always something, right? Like, oh yeah, you should have beat that guy. You got lucky. All this and that. But yeah, I would say that it's gonna sound weird, but I would say almost when I lost my first amateur MMA fight, people were almost kind of like, "I told you so." Like that's what I felt after my first loss.
Yeah.
And what a lot of people don't know is like that first loss did more good than harm for me.
Yeah. Because now you really got something to prove.
Yeah. Oh,
Now
dude,
it's
it lit a
like-
fire.
Yeah.
It lit a fire.
And you know what it takes now.
Yeah, and I don't like only my teammates and my family know this, but now that we're on a podcast, like my first loss, and this kind of I'm saying this because it kind of shows my commitment to the sport. So, fight week, right? Sunday you start your weight cut, and then you have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday you weigh in, Saturday you fight.
Yeah.
So Sunday I started my weight cut. Monday I woke up, throat's hurting a little bit. I'm like, all right, allergies. Hopefully.
Yeah.
Go to work, continue my weight cut, starting a diet, water load, all this. Wake up Tuesday, still there. I'm like, all right, this is weird. Start taking medicine at this point because I'm starting to get a little freaked out. My body's starting to feel weird. Early Wednesday morning, woke up with 102, 101 something fever, throat closing up.
Yeah.
Ended up having strep throat.
Damn.
Having strep throat.
Yeah.
And that's Wednesday. Friday, I have to weigh in for this fight.
Yeah.
So I go to the doctor, and obviously they give you antibiotics when you have strep throat. Antibiotics hold water.
Uh-oh.
At this point, what I'm trying to do is deplete all the water out of my body.
Yeah.
Right.
So, dude, that weight cut was miserable, and I called my coach up, and I had so this fight was in Georgia. This would be the first fight. All my family was coming to Georgia to watch me because he's going to fight that Saturday. That Sunday, I was going to get baptized with my wife.
Yep.
So it was like a big deal. I was like, oh,
Yeah.
the story's perfect, right?
Right.
The story's perfect. I'm going to beat this dude up. I'm going to get baptized the next day. But I called my coach. I talked to him, and, he just told me to take the medicine. We're going to cut the weight. We're going to try to make it as less painful as possible. So I just had to suck it up, man. Like, just imagine how you feel with strep throat and then having to cut 10, 12 pounds of water weight and then go fight.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, so I had to see it through, man. I was committed, but I ended up making weight, barely, on my deathbed. Those last 2 pounds, like, I couldn't draw the water out. But I made weight. Fight night came. I still felt, at this point, I felt better. But you know how you feel when you take so much medicine. You feel like that medicine-y feeling. Everything's happening so fast but slow at the same time. You just feel off.
Right.
So everything about that fight was just wrong. But I still showed up. Like I said, I told you I was going to fight. I'm going to fight. I have too many people there. And, I lost. And I was fighting a dude that was from the same area. So it was like whoever wins was the best 155er in the area.
Oh, yeah.
But that loss taught me so much about myself that I don't think I would do anything different about it.
Yeah.
It lit a fire. It showed me how dedicated I was to this sport. But yeah.
Yeah, I think it kind of relates to one of my favorite things that Keone Duke said at one of our previous company events was success is based on a pendulum.
Yeah.
All right, so the harder that you fail, the greater that your success, So in relation, so like you had to go through that week of hell.
Yeah.
You had to go through a week of like everything's against you. You had to take antibiotics.
Yeah.
You lost.
Yep.
But all of that, if it would have worked out perfectly, you probably wouldn't be as where you are today.
No.
Because that was your reason to be so successful, to
Yeah.
prove something.
Oh, yeah. The losses, as bad as they are, I've had two. I had one as amateur, one as a pro. My pro debut, I lost. But I knew what to fix from that point on.
Yeah.
So sometimes losing and stuff like that is going to make for a good comeback.
Yeah, if you don't do wrong, you have nothing to fix.
Yeah.
For me, I had 18 when I first got, because we do door-to-door sales. My first 18 appointments to run were no-goes.
Yeah.
So that's every one. I'm like, well, why didn't it close? Why not? What do I need to do to get it better? What do I need to do? And I fine-tuned over time, and then now it's paid off tenfold because persistence plus failure is where you find success. So
100%.
you got to fail.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, and then my biggest blessing came out of my professional debut. My coach, he pinpointed, he was like, something's off. Actually, once I started with my coach in Georgia, Coach Tim Ferriss, one of the best MMA coaches I think I'll ever have. His dedication to us is just, that dude spends so many hours with us, away from his family, doesn't ask for a dime.
Really?
Doesn't ask for a dime.
That's his purpose.
Yeah, his purpose is to, he's there for our success.
Yeah.
But I remember ever since I started with him, after every MMA fight, he was like, something's missing. Something's missing. You're killing these dudes in the training room. Everything's in the training room, but something's missing in the actual fight. So after that last loss, he was like, sports psychologist. We're getting you a sports psychologist.
Okay.
And dude, I've gotten with this sports psychologist, and everything is just turning around.
You're starting to so kind of explain what entails a sports psychologist. What's some of the stuff that they help you with?
Yeah, so they just help you with it could be a lot of things, but it's the mental aspect and how you're thinking, how you're talking to yourself, making sure, because I thought, fighting's very physical. So I thought maybe the physical thing was something wrong. I need to drill this move more. I need to train more. It was my mental was missing.
Yeah.
When I started fighting, I was just doing it for fun. I just liked it. But then I got to a point where I was like, all right, I have a chance to be really good at this. I'm gonna start, really pursuing being a professional.
Right.
Exactly. And with that, pressure came. And I still won fights with the pressure being on me, but after that fight, we knew, because I should have beat that guy, and we knew it was something mentally wrong with me in my head.
And you found out about the sports psychologist after this is in Georgia, after you left Louisiana and everything?
Yes. Okay. I'm
Okay.
in Georgia after my professional debut. I got with a sports psychologist. His name's Matt. I'm working with him through the Army, so the Army's providing it for free.
Yeah.
And we just started finding deficiencies in my mental prep up. So one of them that we found is I would get an opponent, I'd feel super confident, but as the fight got closer, I started doubting myself. I started weaknesses that I saw in my opponent. Now 2 weeks out from the fight, I'm like, oh wait, these kicks are better than I thought. He's quicker than I thought. And you start doubting yourself a little bit. You're kind of scared to pull the trigger in the cage. And there's a saying, it's fear causes hesitation, and hesitation will cause your worst fears to come true.
Yeah.
And that's essentially what it boiled down to. So he's just been helping me with mental cues, mental preparation to really get me in the right mindset for my fighting, because the mindset that I am in right now is not the same person when I'm about to get into a cage and fight somebody.
Yeah.
So I really had to learn how to correlate the two.
Yeah, that's one thing that we say to all of our guys is that, this door-to-door sales is very similar. It's very mental, right? Every rep's something different.
Yep.
Every punch is something different. Every kick is something different. You know what I mean? But you have to be fully dialed on what is going on in this moment. You can't worry about what's going on, what happened in the first round. You got to worry about what's going on at this moment, you know? So,
yeah, that's good.
definitely a correlation.
Yeah, just being, like you said, just being dialed in to that one thing, not worrying about anything else. So we were talking about this a little earlier with my sports psychologist. One thing we kind of found out is, so in high stress environments, humans, they did a study on it, can remember 3 things. That's why whenever an emergency, it's call 911. If you're on fire, stop, drop, and roll.
Yeah.
Like the Army, shoot, move, communicate. So we have these sayings to remind ourselves and to keep us present on what we're actually doing, and it's going to be 3 things. And so I heard one saying, and I think it's going to resonate with you guys really well, and it's burn the boats.
Right.
And what that means is, right, so there's a little story behind it. There was this Spanish conquistador, something back then, right? He's taking his men to go take this land, and they get off the boats, and he ordered his men to burn the boats. And, they're looking around like, what? But what his reason was behind it is, he was going to take this land no matter what. There was not a plan B. He had his vision set, and he was going to do it by any means necessary. And that mindset, just correlates so well with MMA and for you guys as well, right?
Yeah.
Before I enter that cage, it's something simple and easy to say, like burn the boats, and it reminds me of like, all right, I'm in here to win. I'm
It's
in here
life
to
or
kill.
death.
It's life or death. Like it really is.
There's no backup plan.
There's no backup plan.
Yeah,
If
right.
I have any doubt in my mind or any way out, as soon as something gets really hard, like there it is. There's that way out.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing. Like if he wouldn't have burned those boats, he got up there and they started fighting, and the fighting got tough, and you still have your boats to go run back on. You're gonna go run back on your boats.
Yeah.
Yeah, but if you burn those boats, there's no way out.
And that's just like people. I'm
Fully
sure you
committed.
see it. People coming into the gym, like people come into the gym and they say they want to be a fighter,
Yeah.
and then they probably don't stick around too long. You
No,
know?
yeah.
Same
Yes.
thing for us. We have people who want to come up and try our job, and when they say that, we're like, "Well, you're probably going to fail." I'm like,
Yeah.
you want to try it? Well, that's all you're going to do is
You're gonna
try it.
Yeah.
You're gonna try it. Yeah.
But there's people who will call us and they're like, dude, I'm coming up there to do it. I'm coming up there to be number one. I'm coming to take a market. And I'm like, all right, you're going to make it.
you're gonna make it.
That's
yeah.
what you have to do.
And that's
yeah.
all it is. It's that full commitment.
Well, Cotton used to always say this analogy to us is that, you know, anything that you do in life, your goals, whatever you're trying to achieve at that moment, if you have any doubt all the way in your little bitty pinky toe,
Dude, yeah.
right? That little bitty pinky toe, that little bit of doubt, you're not going to achieve it.
100%.
You have to be full 100% dialed and know where you're going, see the vision, right?
Yeah.
And, yeah, that's a great correlation as far as like what you do.
No, and yeah, that what you're talking about, that little bit of doubt, right? Those 2 fights that I lost, like no matter like the first one I was sick, whatever, I still lost the fight that I should have won. But there was that little bit of doubt, right? I was telling myself I'm better than this guy.
Yep.
I'm better here, I'm better there. But in the back of my
You
head,
didn't believe it.
I didn't believe it. I didn't fully believe it.
Yeah, you didn't
And
fully.
you have to fully believe
Yep.
it. Because when shit hits the fan and it's high stress environment, that little voice is
You're
gonna
trying to jump on the boat.
It's become a big voice.
Yeah.
And you really start to doubt yourself.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
yeah, you just fully believe in yourself.
My
Yeah.
favorite saying is, where your mindset goes, your energy flows.
100%.
And so if your energy, if it's a little bit pulling you backwards, you're going to lose.
Oh yeah.
So for us, it's like I always relate it to like no soliciting signs. Like if I walk up, if I even glance at it, I lost.
Yeah.
I know it. I mean, I know it's probably there, but I'm like I blind myself
Yeah.
walking up to a door because mindset. That's where my energy will flow, and I'll be soft on the doors because I feel like I'm bothering somebody.
Yeah.
So I'm blind to it.
Tunnel
And I just-
vision.
Tunnel vision.
Tunnel vision.
Mhm.
All the
Huge.
externals are out of the way. You're,
Yeah.
you know, you're going to this place, and whatever gets in the way of it, just got to get out the way.
Yeah.
Right. Kind of. You know, we're kind of coming up on time. What you know, with this fight coming up, let me rewind a little bit. One thing that I wanted to ask you, we kind of got carried away, is
Yeah.
so your job with the military, right? How is the preparation like when you're a week into your fight and you're cutting all this water weight, but you still have to go out there and train for the military?
Dude, that's a good question. That gets tough. So right now I teach combatives. Actually, so my next fight, I'll be a primary instructor for one of our master courses coming up. So I'll be training for my fight while teaching these soldiers how to teach cutting weight at the same time, and it's tough. But I think it's no more than just mental toughness and knowing why you're doing it.
Do you ever get mad while you're fighting? Like, is it ever anger behind such?
Not really. Maybe when I first started, I was kind of immature and just.
I feel like if I don't eat, like
Yeah.
you know that alone, like I'm like snappy, like I'll like just bite your head off just because I haven't eaten.
Yeah.
So I can only imagine cutting weight and then teaching people.
Oh, dude. Yeah.
Like my
gotta-
tell you like to eat, buddy.
Yeah.
boy, you talking? Jack, you gonna zoom in on him whenever you get up.
Zoom in on him.
What you gonna see?
Nah, dude,
Like a
you
little
gotta
bitty boy.
you gotta ask my wife about that. She hates
Oh,
when
she
I'm cutting
knows?
weight. Oh man, but as far as like actually fighting, it's not mad. It's more of a competitive. Like, oh, this dude just punched me. I gotta get him back.
Yeah.
Or oh, this dude just signed a contract saying he's gonna win money because he thinks he can beat me.
Mm-hmm.
You're gonna try to hurt me in front of my family.
Okay.
It's more competitive in that sense. Like obviously, I can't be mad at the actual fight because we're professionals. It's what we're doing. It's what we're getting paid.
And
to
that's
do.
what I was kind of getting at is because, like, I can only imagine, especially just starting, it's
Yeah.
hard to not let the emotion get involved.
Yeah. No. Yeah. That's what I had to learn. Control my emotions. It's just a fight.
'Cause,
It's
yeah.
nothing personal.
And you had said earlier that you become to where you fight every day.
Yeah.
To where it becomes ordinary for you.
It
So,
does.
like, to have that that drive and that purpose behind it, emotion has to be there. You have to re-see that vision every day. So I could only imagine, especially not eating, just everything about cutting weight and
it's
stuff
rough.
would be hard.
Every time I cut, I say I'm not doing it again.
Yeah.
It's like here I am 10 fights later.
Yeah. Probably got a lot more after this.
A lot more ahead of me, I promise you that.
That's crazy.
You got anything?
Yeah, I would just say if you were to manifest, like, what's exactly what you need to do to be in the UFC, let's say in 3 years. I heard you say 4 years max earlier. What would be like a manifesting of your future? Like, what would it take for you to do that?
Don't get comfortable.
That's it.
It's simple.
simple.
It's simple, man. It's a simple formula to make it. Is if you do the right things long enough, you'll get what you want to get, and that's it, man. People do the right thing for a short amount of time. They get tired of it, or they think they made it, and then they fall off, right?
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I have 2 points on that. So I always say, if you do what you're supposed to do, you're going to get the results that you're supposed to get, right?
Exactly.
So if you just go out there and you do what you're supposed to do, it might not pay you today, it might not pay you tomorrow, but hard work will always pay off.
Always.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's the key to success is just stay doing the right things at the right time. Consistency.
That's it.
Just staying on the path.
It really is.
I don't think I'm anything special. I know you guys say it. You guys aren't anything special, but you do the right things for long enough, good things will happen.
Yeah, and even one of my, I just related so much because there's a scripture that says, "Good people are in the favor of the Lord."
Yeah.
Even in fighting, you're like bashing people's heads in, but in the reality of it, you're a good person.
Oh yeah.
You do what you're supposed to do every day of your life.
Yep.
You go to church, you got baptized, you live a good life, and there's your reward.
Yeah.
And there's shadiness in fighting.
Oh yeah.
And there's a shady people, and they're not going to see that reward. Same thing with sales.
Yeah.
There's shady salespeople out there.
Oh yeah.
But if I do what I'm supposed to do, and I believe that I'm doing right, that's where I'll see good favor.
100%.
You'll see the return. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Really, just maybe leave off with a message, bro. All the fans that you've gained, because I see it on social media. The fans that you've gained from the past fight when we were in Louisiana. Kind of just maybe a message to those guys. What they can expect in the future. Your fight coming up, and we'll go ahead and wrap it up.
Yeah, no, I just want to thank everybody that supports me. I want to thank you guys.
Yeah.
It makes me super happy because I see a lot of my fighters at the gym. A lot of my training partners, they're following Discipline, Desire, and Dedication now.
Okay.
They're tuning in the podcast.
Heck
so, yeah, I'm just super grateful. I'm just starting. I'm 3 years in. So, invest into me, and I'll invest into you. I don't want to be the only one to succeed. I want everybody around me to succeed. Yeah. So, I think it's going to be a fun journey. And, I'm thankful for everybody that's supporting me.
Heck yeah.
Got a lot to see coming up in the future.
Oh, yeah.
It's just starting for all of us.
Just starting.
So tell, before we get off of here, tell people your fight's June 30th?
June 29th.
June 29th at the Texas
Club, Baton Rouge, Louisiana.
Where can you find tickets?
You can find tickets on, so just go to either my Instagram, my Facebook. My Instagram's HJamesMMA, or on Facebook, just look up Hunter James. Mm-hmm. Or you can go to Titan Fighting Championship. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, Titan Combat Championship. Their Instagram and Facebook, right. And you can find the link. It's a Ticketmaster link, so you can find tickets on there.
Yeah, heck yeah. So y'all go give him a follow, like his Facebook, add him as a friend, whatever, and follow this guy. He has a bright future ahead of him, and just a lot of discipline, desire, and dedication, I would say. Huh?
Yeah, we're just getting started.
Just getting started. So glad to have you on, Hunter. Man, it was a blessing.
Thank you, guys.
And absolutely, though. Know you got a bright future. Just keep grinding, and we're here to support you, bro.
And we'll have you back on.
Likewise.
We're going to have better stories for the next one, too.
Oh, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Maybe after the next fight.
Bring me back after this fight.
Yeah,
yes,
after the fight.
Yeah,
Talk about what's in the future. So like and subscribe to the channel. Drop some comments below on, what you thought, maybe some topics that you want to talk about. And if you're interested in becoming on the podcast, DM myself or Garrett or even our Instagram page. We'll get back to you. Definitely want to, bring on some multiple guests. And thank you so much for watching, and we'll catch you next time.
Thanks.